Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play the Occult Chronicles. In the last episode, we left an extravagant dining room filled with ghosts, looking to find the butler that they want us to locate to order the dessert. And we found him amongst other ghosts in these kitchen areas. We were able to eventually find the chef that the butler needed us to find to solve a problem that he had with locating a knife. Return the knife, and then let the chef know about it, and he himself has returned, supposedly to wherever he came from, after preparing the dessert that we are now ready to tell the butler about. Then we can go and tell the people in the dining room about their dessert, finally. We solved a few other issues ongoing in the kitchen, and have quite a few quests that are taken at the moment. Here's everything we currently have. Quite a few quests. We have found 2 clue tokens so far, and are looking pretty good when it comes to the amount of experience points we've earned in the early game so far. Our stats are decent: 5 swords, 4 wands, 3 cups, and pentacles. We earned our first Arcana card near the end of the last episode as well, Justice, which will earn us 1 point whenever we draw an ace into our hand. We earned Critical Hit as a free feat for completing a quest, for trying to accomplish it. And I think that is it so far. We still are looking for any other clues about the strength of the vampire coven, which are a clan which is located in this mansion, having found some evidence that one at least exists. And with that all said, we've also have 1 story token drawn so far, which is making all wands encounters a little easier for us. This includes horror challenges, psychic challenges, and I guess lore and persuasion rolls. Alright, with all that said, let's pick up where we left off. Well, I don't have a good feeling about this room, and I'm curious as to why this is off the kitchen. It seems to be stacked body bags, all filled with something. It's the freezer. There was a clue token in here, though. +2 trick bonus. You discover a pile of dead rats. Each one has been completely drained of its blood. Something was very hungry. Young vampires sometimes feed this way, if they are starving. +2 bonus tricks drawn at the final encounter. With that trick found, everyone, I don't think we'll find a 4th trick on the first floor. So I don't need to explore these other unexplored spaces. There's a risk, of course, that there could be a trick that I'm ignoring, but I don't think there'll be one. So I'm going to stick to explored spaces from now on, unless I'm looking to have another encounter somewhere. Like this one. You come across a desiccated body leaning up against a wall. It was dragging a cloth bag of valuables along with it. This poor soul chose the wrong house to burgle. How'd he get this far? This must be the body of which the haunted armor spoke. You see a decaying satchel of thieves' tools and loot gripped in a skeletal hand. We drew an ace, by the way, which got us 1 point. But we also won the challenge by having a queen to take the knight. We could hold on to the king if we think one of these 3 cards might be another face. Might be a face of face. Might be a cups face card. But I don't think it's going to be. So we'll play our King of Cups here for even more points. At 12 points over the target number, there was no real reason for us to play any other cards. We're going to draw the max amount of rewards. But I am always curious as to what total cards were present when it comes to what was placed on the table for tricks. You rummage through the corpse's pockets and possessions and find nothing. Staring down at what is left of the desiccated remains, a sudden thought suddenly occurs to you. You cut open the corpse's stomach and search around. There it is. You pick it up. It glows eerily in the darkness. Sometimes, an item will be given to you to carry back in order to complete the quest. These items usually have a penalty to a stat of some sort when taken, so I'm glad that's not the case here. A small coffee room? You notice a human figure curled up into a fetal position and struggling for breath. It's obvious that whatever this is, it's sick and probably dying. As you draw closer, you realize that this figure before you isn't human. It's some type of weird half-plant and half-human lab experiment monstrosity. You occasionally encounter things that science shouldn't meddle with, and this is one of those. You stare in horror at the pathetic creature and wonder what madness would drive someone to create this. By the way, I apologize everyone a bit. I think the music for the past few parts was a little too low, so I've increased it somewhat for this series going forward. It's not like this game has a significant amount of combat music. In fact, there's none to my recollection, so I think the eerie, atmospheric music we're hearing should be at an acceptable level. Usually things far worse than this. You were part of the team that broke into the 5th lab and discovered the twisted, alchemically created creatures called chimeras. This isn't anywhere near as bad as that. That was Resident Evil, wasn't it? I think it was. The dying plant man looks up at you expectantly. You think that you can recognize emotions in his facial expressions, fear and pain. In between labored breaths, it seems to be chittering, like it was trying to communicate with you. Its message is plain. Please end this. You get sick just looking at it. You don't need to deal with this right now. This is the second part of the quest that... I'm sorry, is that right? 4th part of the quest that involves this. It's good to know that the plant man and refrigerator are close together. Hopefully the mad scientist isn't too far away from them. We're going to stick to the first floor at the moment. The encounters here are easy, or easier, than the second floor, and I'm going to want to clear up any of the quests that we currently have taken as well. You see the figure of a woman silhouetted against the wall. You call out who's there, but get no response. You almost wonder if it might be a mannequin of some sort. A sudden chill envelops you as you step closer. The shape shifts and turns to face you, revealing the outlines of smoky wings that unfold and then flit in and out of the darkness. Your eyes widen in disbelief as you confront what is obviously a winged woman of some sort. You think it must be a succubus. Your mind strains to comprehend the demonic creature that stands before you. In case you guys haven't figured out how I play the card game here, generally, in the early game, if I have a matching card and must play it, I do. But if I have a choice of cards to play, it depends upon what's available at the time on the trick board. If the card's higher than mine, I play whatever the lowest card is in my hand of the same suit. Otherwise, I might choose the lowest card in my hand that is slightly higher than it, depending upon the card in my hand, and if I have any other cards of that same suit in it. I'll explain the logic behind my decisions when we have a good choice to make. Now this succubus is actually Fall from Grace. She has that name, or she'll tell you her name when you complete the quest that involves her, but it doesn't start from her, and she's the final location of that encounter. Yes, you decide this is most surely a succubus. You remember your odd training in dealing with minor demonics. You must be on your toes here. She will try and manipulate you into doing something rash, no doubt. She looks upon you with the saddest eyes that you think you have ever seen. She seems to want to speak with you. But she's a later part of the quest. So we have to fight her or run from her at the moment. And running from her, actually, there's not a good chance to do so. But we'll still try it. And we succeed. You muster all your willpower and are soon away from it. You see a human figure lurking in the darkness, and you don't like the look of it at all. It steps forward from out of the gloom. You're confronted with a strange and unusually tall man who towers over 6.5 feet. He seems dressed like a mortician of some sort. He opens his hand to reveal a spiked shiny sphere that miraculously hovers out of his palm. He smiles in a creepy voice, says, "I've been waiting for you, boy." I still have not watched Phantasm, which I believe is what this is from. Every year for like the past 4 years, I mentioned that maybe I should at least watch a little bit of this and get the quote right, but I still haven't watched it. You've seen a lot of strange things, but this one is right up there. You have the feeling that there's a story here that is just the tip of the iceberg. So, if I think there's the Page of Wands here, then I should hold on to the Knight, because that will let me take the page and earn more points. The odds of that is very slim, though, so I'm going to guess it's not present. And I'll instead now need to decide, do I want to get... This is worth 3 points. Actually, playing the Knight will let us win the challenge immediately. So I think I'll do that. The only card we can't take is the Page. So I'm going to play a card now, and I'm assuming that it's not the Page. I might as well play the Knight. If it's a higher card, I won't mind having played the Knight now, because it will have been wasted. We can't take a Queen or King with it. And if it's a lower card than the Page, it will be a 9 or lower. And we can take the 9 with the 10, for example. And there's the 9. We can take the 9 with the 10. We can take the 5 with the 3, and since the 10 and 8 of Wands are up here, this means if there's a 7 or lower of Wands, we have the card necessary to take it. Usually things far worse than this. You were part of the first odd team to breach a dimensional barrier. This guide is Gizmo, don't scare you in the least. It makes it sound like we've seen a lot of action. But judging from our stats coming in here, I don't know how true that is. The strange man continues to approach you, striding forward with an unnatural gait. The spiked ball now launches itself at a high speed towards you. It's either fight or flee at this point. He's guarding the door, so I like to kill him if we could. Normally, the only thing you can do, I think, is attack the strange man. But I've added invoke spells and dispel the orb. One is psychic, one is magic. We'll try just messing him up with our fists, since I want more bullets before I feel confident to use our .45 again. If we lose this encounter, then we'll whip out the gun. You came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and you're all out of gum. Oh, it's an okay hand. Oh, actually, it's a better hand than I thought it was. We've got 2 high swords cards. King and Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. So hopefully there isn't nothing but kings up here. And we win just with that. We could try to win that 8. It's not likely. And we didn't win. We did win, but we didn't get that card high enough. You make quick work of the strange man. You are pretty sure he's dead. Whether or not he's human is a whole different question. Beads of Al-Qadim. We'll take a look at that in a bit. I am glad to see that. That's a nice item to have. Oops, it's an item, Tim. It goes into your item stash here. 2 uses remaining. Item removed from inventory after last use. +1 pentacles, as long as we possess this. Charge all your spells to their maximum amount. So right now we have those spells. So this doesn't do anything for us, but it does give us, aside from +1 pentacles, which is really nice. Guns require bullets. Feats require courage. Your bullets are stored on each individual gun. Courage is stored in each individual feat. Like, we don't have a pool of courage. It's assigned to each individual card. Same with bullets. The same with charges for spells, which we don't have any of at the moment. I wanted to see what was in that corner. It's not an encounter. We can ignore it. Secret passage scene. You gotta be really close to see the secret passages. We discovered that at the end of last year's game, when we didn't see the secret necessary to find the Elder's Room, even though we saw where the Elder's Room was located. This is a room I like seeing. It's a gun room. There will always, I think, be an encounter in this room to have a chance to acquire a gun, which is automatically a success at finding one in the rewards if you are successful at it. But I wouldn't mind having... Well, actually, we have 4 wands and 4 pentacles. Let's take a peek at it. We have another class 1 haunting. So when it comes to reading the text for these creatures, I'll read the first text for a creature if it's different than what we've read in the past. But this is our second haunting, so we'll skip this one. So our choices are Getter or Destroy the Ghost with Magic. We'll try Getter. That's it. That's the whole plan. Getter. Uh-oh. It's not... Okay, we did indeed get her. You got her good. No one's going to believe how you did it, and you're not sure you are either. Oh. Didn't get anything. Here it is. Let's see what this encounter is. It's probably the gun case encounter. You notice several old broken gun cases. Upon closer examination, you see a scattered assortment of mostly antique weapons through the glass panes that enclose the boxes. That is not a good chance to fiddle with this. But it's going to get tougher later. We right now have an additional -1 to the difficulty thanks to the story token. Most weapons appear to be old and broken and useless to you. You decide to spend a little time rummaging around to see if there's anything salvageable. We'll make the attempt. So, this encounter is a one-time only encounter. So we gotta hope for high cards in our hand, and we have nothing but garbage. Okay, that's awful. Well, I'm sorry. We don't have just garbage. We have no face cards, though. So that's super awkward, because we can't take any if all we get is face cards over there, we're losing this. We lost. What a complete pile of junk. You wouldn't trust any of these weapons not to blow up in your face. Alright, that's it. So much for a free gun. That sucks. Whenever something like that happens, I'm always tempted to just Alt F4, stop the recording, no one knows what happened, and then I just start over again from this episode. But I'll keep it, and everything else this time around. That sucks, though. You discovered a secret wooden door. It blends in almost seamlessly with the wall, but your keen senses were still able to detect it. Finding it is one thing. Figuring out how to open it is another. Well, we have a decent chance of either of these. Probably a better chance of bashing the door in. It looks sturdy, but with a little effort you might be able to kick or shoulder your way through. Secret doors aren't supposed to be sturdy, just hard to find after all. If we get a cup, it's not a king, we'll win. Failing to find this or bash it down usually results in ill omens. As the bad card, or a trap going off that you then have to pass as well. I'm not willing to fail this challenge, so we're going to play the Queen of Cups and believe that there's no other cups she would be better at taking further along. Alright, And we would have won the challenge even if we didn't use the queen there. Okay, we did the right thing. You battered down the door. So much for being a secret. The way lies open now. Lock-picking, bashing down doors or secret doors, blowing them open. They all have a chance, I believe, of an aura of fortune, so that's nice to get. As with the staircase going up, I like getting this room on the map in case we fall down to the floor below somehow. There's another secret door here, though. You've discovered a secret door. It blends in almost seamlessly with the dungeon wall, but your keen senses were still able to detect it. Finding it is one thing. Figuring out how to open it is another. This is much more difficult for us to bash in, so we'll come back for this later. A piano room, and we are looking for a pianist. You see a magnificent grand piano in front of you. The hairs on the back of your neck begin to stand on end. You feel a presence nearby. Streams of psychokinetic energy are leaking from the piano. You can hear a wailing plea in your mind for help. Some supernatural entity possesses the piano. You brace yourself for a psychic impact. You can see the psychic wave roll towards you. You set yourself to withstand its shock. We have a Pentacles card in our hand. What is it? Worth it. Nice. Take that, Queen. We had the King for you. You deflect the fear that would have sought to dominate and consume you. The grand piano seethes before you. Something seems wrong here. You sense that a curse or fell sorcery has imprisoned two spirits here. One acts as jailer to the other. You can in fact hear the captive plead for release in your mind. You remember a lecture during your odd training about Plotinus's theory on spirit traps. Some cursed items used a spirit to effectively bind another spirit to its existing nexus within our world. Such spirit traps could snowball out of control given the chance. Perhaps you can free both before it's too late. This must be what's holding up the pianist. He is caught in a spirit trap that was elaborately constructed in the physical form of this piano. You've heard of such things. The piano is old but fully functional. The more you examine it, the more you realize that the piano is an integral part to the trap itself, with much has required a true master of spirit manipulation to fabricate. You notice that the keys have odd symbols etched faintly onto them. You recognize them as belonging to the lost scriptures of Nag Hammadi. That makes sense. If you can remember the correct release invocation and press the correct keys, then you should be able to disable the trap and free the ghost pianist. This works a bit like the organ from Goonies, when they pressed keys and like the floor fell away or the door opened a bit. Only, you only need to succeed once. But failing means a trap goes off, and I think you have to avoid it. I don't like the chances that we have here. I don't like seeing a target 7 with 6 tricks and 6 draw. I think we come back for this if we can raise our pentacles up one more point. There's nothing else in the room. It would be nice, though, to turn that in, since the ball is around here, but we'll check this other musical room. This makes sense. It's one of the few times that this place is being laid out in a way that makes sense. The two kitchens are somewhat next to each other, for example. Normally they're on other sides of the mansion, so I kind of like that. And we have a piano room and another musical room here, too. Oh, nursery, sorry. Oh, this is where we'll find the demon baby. This might even be it right here. Oh, this is worse than that, actually. You stop as soon as you catch sight of the lone figure near the wall. You might have thought that he was a statue standing there, as his only movement in the gloom was the slow-labored rise and fall of his chest as he drew breath. Without warning, he bursts out into a maniacal cackle that sends a shiver down your spine. You have no doubt that you are hearing the laughter of the insane. The maniacal laughter is truly disturbing as it echoes around the room and out the doors. The Axemen. he has a chance, not a guaranteed chance as far as I can recall, to drop an axe, which is a wonderful weapon for dealing with doors of all kinds. But fighting him for it means if you lose, wounds. Wow. We get an edge upgrade from a horror check. That's awesome. I think we grab another adaptive intellect. Let's take it. A gaunt, thoroughly insane man wielding a bloody axe lunges towards you. You are certain that there is no way to reason with him, so you can save your questions for later. I did not add a encounter for this. Oh man, I don't like just 5 tricks on the board. I think we use our gun for this. Stopping power. We have quite a few very high cards in our hand. I think we use Reckless Charge here also. 5 cards on this board were dropped down 5 in their value, and we drew 5 more cards, all of which are still number cards. Is that right, or is it 1 card we drew? We drew X cards. So this is terrifying to me because we didn't draw any face cards, which means that likely these are all faces we're looking over here. Okay, or not. That's good. Let's play the page. We have no... Oh, we do have another number card, and we won the challenge. Thank goodness. You make crazy short work of the lunatic, and his axe doesn't even touch you. It's a chance for the axe, not guaranteed. But we get it anyway. Nice. We'll take a look at that together in a bit. Sometimes you can get courage from this encounter. Not this time, though. I'm totally saving the game that we got an axe. So, Lotaeri went from using a gun to now he's dual-wielding axe and machete, apparently. Let's take a look at that together. Axe. +1 swords bonus, so our swords are now 6. Requires 2 cups to use it, which we have 2 cups of. We have 3. We have to possess at least 1 cup's bone to use swinging chop, which we can't do because we don't have a cup's bone. That reminds me, what bone do we get? Okay, we get a bone of cups from the mechanical device specialist. Good thing, I think that was an accident. I wasn't even looking at that when I chose this, so that's kind of good. Because we took the wand's bone, we made our character. 3 experience points. We will first grab a point in Pentacles, and now with 2 left over, we're going to want the Bone of Cups and the Bone of Pentacles. So let's start working on the Pentacles Bone next. You can't cast any spells without the Bone of Pentacles, and you can't use various feats without the Bone of Cups, or items apparently. So we're going to want both of these next, I think. This must be the baby. Did I save the game? I don't remember. Let's go save the game because we picked up the axe. That was great. I am very glad to have gotten that axe. Oh, I guess we should look at it a little bit more. So this gives the option for axe chop, which reduces by 4 the target level. So that's very nice, allowing us to use this to hack through even like steel doors. Actually, although it looks like that's only -2 to the target level, that's still super useful. We'll drop the Colt 45 before we drop one. Actually, no, we can't do that. We need this for some of our edges, which make combat in general easier for us too. And we can't use swinging chop because we need a cup's bone. You are startled by the rocking cradle. It seems to be moving by its own accord. The squeaking of the runners on the wood is unsettling. You step closer. As you approach, you begin to suspect there is something lying inside the cradle. You peer down into it and behold a thing of astounding ugliness, a demon baby. It grins up at you and you are afraid. Your eyes wide in disbelief as the demon baby coos at you in some type of demonic cant. It gnaws at your sanity. Not today, it doesn't. That's amazing. We don't even have to play the game any longer with the amount of points we've earned, but we'll be fine in this case. Might as well go for all the points. You see things far worse than this. Its cooing is almost as disturbing as its demonic appearance. You've heard of an odd agent who might have once looked like this. However, this thing radiates pure evil. It's not going to jump out at a recruitment offer, and most certainly has something in mind other than lying there waiting for its mother. We have to defeat it, I think, right? Yep. So... sorcery is our best chance at this. You decide to fight fire with fire. You hope that you have the power to melt this thing down into meat chunk. Hopefully, it is not as skilled. We don't have any spells, but that's not what the spell encounters require you to do. They just require you to have a certain amount of pentacles for them to show up. And we've almost won just with that, and we have won. You unleash your power on the demon baby. It tries to resist but succumbs to your assault. Soon it's a lump of sizzling bacon. That completes the demon's quest. The heart. A talisman. You can carry 6 of them at most, and they show up depending upon what type of encounter you're doing. I think it's whatever is the major, the main stat that's checked. So the heart will show up for wands, which are, I think, horror checks, for example. The crow shows up for combat challenges when we fail those. 5 energy, but we don't have any spells to put it in. The element of surprise. You've come to the Corvinus Manor unannounced and expecting trouble. That is correct. That is exactly what we've done. All challenges that involve swords as a primary suit receive a +1 modifier to the number of trick cards placed on the board, while this story icon is active. And it is indeed the active token. This one is now inactive. I think it would have been better if every single token was active at all times. We get for some interesting, horrific combinations that would occur. We also leveled our Pentacles a rank, so we're going to double back to the piano and try to interact with it. It's a little easier. We have 1 less target number, and we get 1 more trick on the board. Well, it's not a good hand, but if there's a cup card on the board, we've won. And there was, and it was the queen, which is what we needed. It's not easy, but you decipher the keys and free the pianist. He is most grateful and vows to accompany you until you return to the ball. He says that you will never even know he's there. I like to imagine that we guessed in the end. The blade dances, another feat. Requires 1 long blade item. I think the machete counts for that. What the heck is happening, game? Long blade. Yep, we have one. We have the machete. Let's go ahead and go back to the main menu to make sure that gets saved. So I failed to get a gun, which is disappointing. But in the end, I'm glad we didn't get it because we don't need it. Or rather, we're getting more feats that want us to use other abilities. The blade dances. Roll 1 bone and bump the card values down on X random revealed non-face trick cards. So it's the same thing like our Colt 45, where X is the number of swords or cups rolled, whichever is higher. Then roll a card. Then draw a card. Well, I think we go down here, search what's in these rooms, then make our way across and begin turning in quests here or there. We can actually stop by the Brain Canister and see if we can get that quest now from it. I think the quest it wants us to do is right here in the same room, so we'll see if we can complete both of those. We can also come over here and look at the Disturbing Tapestry. The Gong is a series of different encounters that will have us do. I'm going to hold off on that until we're a little stronger. We can then turn in this quest, search the bookshelf for a spell, and probably search up there. It's going very well. All things considered, I'm surprised at how well it's going so far. Sewing room, I think. Might be more papers in here. You see a bunch of papers spread out on top of a desk. Among the clutter are an assortment of old envelopes, letters, and even a few parchment papers. You think this might be the stash of papers that the Rashaka sent you after. You should be careful in case the ward can harm you. I hate you, game. The ward placed on these papers is a tricky one. The caster was obviously very talented. You can't seem to break or evade it even though it wasn't directly attuned to you. You discover that it can indeed harm you, only after it's too late. I don't think I've ever failed one of these before, so I don't know what to expect here. We'll try that again. We should play the page, because the only thing the page can't take is the 10, and we have the 10 in our hand. And we win. And the King of Cups gets to be used too. Nice. You sense the ward, and since it's not directly attuned to you, and it in fact lashed out at you once, you're able to defeat it temporarily. You quickly gather up the manuscript pages and put them in your pockets. There is a Arcana card, which gives you one of each bone that you don't possess as well. I tend to get it, but I also want to have the bone sooner rather than later. A locked door. We don't have a good chance to attempt to pick the lock. An okay chance to bash the door in, but we can practically not fail since we have the axe to chop it down. So we'll do this. And we win. That axe is such a nice find. Bit of an awkward trick board too. Thankfully, the two cards we were able to take, we had face cards for. Splinters and a loud noise announce your success in battering down the door. The way now lies open. And that is our Bone of Pentacles. We can now cast spells, but we don't have any at the moment, so. Coffee room. 2 encounters in here. One's probably a smoking gentleman or someone who has smoked too much. Your attention is drawn to a burnt corpse sitting in a charred but yet still comfortable leather chair. The smell of burnt human flesh is overwhelming at first. You've encountered it before, and no matter how often you have experienced it, it always initiates a slight gag reflex. You take a closer look at the body to see if you can figure out what happened. That's when the hands unclench from the armrests and beckon you closer. Your eyes wide in disbelief as the burnt corpse motions you closer. Come here, will you? No, I don't think we'll do so. Not today. You have seen things far worse than this. In fact, a few years back, you were assigned to a detail that had to clean up after an Agent Sherman mess. One crispy body doesn't even come close. The creature does not seem to be able to leave its chair, being partially melted into the back of it. You think you hear something. The burnt corpse talks in the slightest audible whisper. Its mouth barely moves. Don't smoke. It's part of a quest, so we should leave it here. You decide to muster all your courage and willpower to try to get away from this burnt creature. There's something very wrong, and it scares us. You take a couple of steps back, and as the smell begins to fade, you already feel a lot better. Soon you're away from it and feeling fine. You see a large marble fireplace decorated with ornate sculptures, but what really astonishes you is the fire burning within the hearth. The flames dance around and lick the walls of the fireplace, almost as if it were some type of living entity. Then it strikes you. A demonic face appears in the flames, and the sudden realization that this creature has noticed you sends a wave of horror rolling over you. You struggle to keep calm and not give in to panic. You're looking straight in the face of some type of flaming evil horror. It seeks to dominate your mind, and you know that you must not let that happen. Your will is stronger than this evil creature of flame. You force it out of your mind and hold on to your sanity. The face in the fire smiles at you. This demonic creature must have been bound to the fireplace. How long ago and by whom are questions that you cannot answer. You cautiously step forward so that you can examine the situation in more detail. The demon seems contained within the hearth, but you have no idea how strong his binding there is. Oh man, we do not have good chances to bargain with the demon or to search for the paper, but we should do these anyway. Unless we want to wait till we increase our wands once more. That might be useful. But we're here now. We'll make one attempt at searching for the old paper. This must be the worthless servant that the demon in the broken circle was talking about. You inch forward to see if you can spot the piece of paper with the writing on it. You quickly spot the slip of paper on the mantle next to the old clock. To an old clock. You quickly grab it and duck back, slipping the paper into your pocket. This demon wants a piece of paper from, wants a piece of paper from the cultist that summoned the other demon. But we'll have to bargain with it to do that, and I don't think we can do this successfully at the moment. We'll leave it alone and see if we can increase our wands or pentacles by 1. That does mean we'll have to come back here, but we'll want to come back here anyway for the smoking corpse. Okay, time to try the brain. But first we have a brain bot to deal with. You hear the taps of its metal legs on the floor, and then you see it emerge from the shadows. A brain bot. Soldier slaves created by the Telesrathi from human victims to fight their interdimensional wars. They are quick, efficient, and merciless. Nothing remains of their past humanity. The thought of it is horrifying. Your eyes widen in disbelief as you behold the human brain encased in its robot body. Since we know we can earn an edge upgrade if the game is extraordinarily kind to us, we will keep flipping over cards and try to do the best we can in horror challenges too. You see things far worse than this. You've seen these things in action a few times before, and you are confident that you can handle yourself in this situation. The brain bot seems to be on patrol. You should act quickly before it summons reinforcements. Attack the brain bot. Its weak spot is the motivator underneath its carriage. It's a difficult spot to hit unless you can manage to flip them over. Let's just get a few points, which is what I'm hoping that will be enough. And thankfully, it is. Brain bots aren't particularly nasty. I just don't really want to lose a combat encounter at this point. We didn't even need to use the machete, but I'm glad we did anyway. You won the battle! The brain bot sparks and sputters as the cerebral fluid leaks out of the brain case. The maximum sanity and life you can possess at any one time is 40, by the way, so we're almost maxed on sanity. Okay, so we should be able to now, communicate with the Brain Canister. Our wands is high enough now to get this quest. You notice some odd lights and switches on the outside of the Brain Canister. You might be able to configure them and see if there's some way to talk to this thing, assuming it's still alive and sane. You fiddle around with the switches and stare amazed at the technology that went into constructing this canister. Suddenly a circuit hums into life and the brain starts talking to you. Courage. Courage, bullets, and arcane power. When you get some, you choose what you want to place it into. So we'll put, I think, all 4 points in a reckless charge to get us back to 6 courage assigned to it. Greetings. I wasn't sure that you would manage it. I beg that you destroy me. I have been drained of most of my knowledge, and my tormentor was only prolonging my agony as punishment. But first you must ensure that no more of its kind can venture into our dimension. Nearby you will find a machine that powers its gate. Destroy it, please. I will give you the codes to do so. I was able to learn them from the Talisratis who probed and then devoured my mind. So much lost. Return here after you've done this. I want to know that it is destroyed. Then you may put me out of my misery. It's right here, which is kind of odd. I think maybe once in the past I've seen them both in the same room. So we can do either of these things. It's probably easier for us to destroy the control panel. I don't think I've ever actually seen this choice before. It's, let's try to use the codes once, and if it fails, then we'll just destroy the control panel in a lottery smash rage, as it were. You have the codes of the Brain Canister, but the control panel is a confusing mess of symbols. You should be able to grok this one out. You will need to be careful that you don't pull a Tungsunga. Good number cards, and one face, the Queen of Wands. She's the only Wands we have, so hopefully we don't immediately draw the King of Wands. Hello, King of Swords. Hello, King of Cups. This is terrifying. Okay, Knight of Wands. Acceptable. King of Pentacles. Are all the kings on the board? What an awful trick board that was for my high number cards. All faces except for one. Wow. You enter the codes correctly the first time. You're a goddamn genius. Have you destroyed its generator? Please tell me yes. You tell the Brain Canister that the generator has been destroyed. The brain in the canister nearly giggles with joy. You go to fulfill your pledge and remove the power cables, but it interrupts you. Stop! I wish to help you further. On the Talisrati's sash is a power unit. Plug it into my canister, and I will have time to help you further if you wish to let me ride along. I may prove useful, as I've heard it talk of this place in great detail. We get the Brain Canister. It takes up 1 space in our, I think it's going to be Wands inventory. We get +1 card draw and +1 trick card for any lore challenge while this card is in your inventory. At the beginning of any lore challenge, 2 random trick cards are placed on the board in a scryed state. What that means is that we can see what those cards are. They are flipped, like, they're not flipped over automatically for us, but we see what value is hidden behind the card. We get 4 more picks. Temperance. All successful challenges that do not normally have a chance to generate a skill token card have a small chance to do so. And any challenge that would normally has its chance increased by 50%. Well, this card is in your inventory. In other words, we have a better chance of getting experience points as long as we hold on to Temperance. I'll take another Arcana card. That's super useful. Obviously, we're going to save the game to make sure that if there's a glitch, we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, 2 girls who don't like wearing very much, apparently. Alright, so since we have a decent amount of... Wait, what? Our swords is now 6? Oh, yeah, it became 6 when we grabbed the axe. I forgot about that. This does not give us any plus it to wands, which I thought it would. Okay. You know, with the lore, I think we can go back to Demon in the Fire and try to convince it. Now, let's go back and do that, since it's not too far away. More rats in the walls. We'll try to fight them. Ooh. Here you go, King. You can have our single ace. Okay, we defeated that horde of rats. Can we earn maybe some more experience points? No, we can't. Okay, yeah, let's take advantage of our new friend here, which should have made this... I think it upped the difficulty 1 as well, by the way. I think this used to be a 10, and now it's an 11. Because I think that's the way this works. So we still need a target of 7, but we are going to get +1 additional trick. And more importantly, we get 2 scryed cards. We have no swords in our hand, so seeing the Page of Swords is a bit awkward because we can't take advantage of it. There's no reason why we shouldn't play the Queen of Cups to take the Page, because we possess the Knight in our hand as well. And just like that, we win the challenge. Using the lost sign language of Taldash to establish contact with the demon. The demon states that it was recently bound here by an acolyte claiming to serve some dark master. It's clear that the demon thought the human insane and dabbling in things that were way over his head. The acolyte somehow managed to find a list of demonic names and binding rituals in some forgotten tome. The demon says that the acolyte would write them on small enchanted slips of paper. He believes his own name to be in the acolyte's pocket. He perished a few short hours ago when he foolishly attempted to summon and bind another demon, but got the slips of paper mixed up. Find the acolyte's body, then bring the name to the demon, and he will reward you. Since we have a decent Wands and Pentacles stat now, we'll go ahead and begin interacting with a few things that we left behind earlier. You decide to search through the papers. You never know what type of useful information you might find here. Oh my god, that's a great hand! That's phenomenal. We'll play the king immediately on the ace to win. And we'll play this king there as well to get even more points. And why not? We'll play the... Go play the 7. Okay, that was a waste, but it doesn't matter. We have 23 out of the 4 points we needed. We're going to get the 7-card draw. You don't come across anything earth-shattering, but there is enough information here to boost your confidence that you're on the right track. Let's see if the vampires left any hints for us to read about. They did! 3 experience points. Or a fortune. Always very nice. The other pile of papers could have given us the same thing, but that one needed to be turned into the Rashaka. This one needs to be turned into the Alchemist, who is probably in the attic, is my guess. We have 6 points. Let's grab a bone, increase our cups. Oh my god, we can increase our cups again. Wow, this is great. We have a really balanced character. But first, we're gonna try to earn a bone of cups. Wow. I didn't realize Soldier was swords, cups, cups. That's pretty awesome. As I make a farting noise with my mouth. We want to check the disturbing tapestry next. We're not going to ring the gong. I want to be higher level, have higher stats and more equipment before we do this. We'll ring this before we go downstairs. This is obviously the key for the red hand card game ritual that you found earlier. You decide to examine the tapestry more closely to decipher the key. This might be risky. We don't have any... well, do we? We have more cards than what I think we have. Okay, so... I see an 8 of Wands here, and we have a Page of Wands in our hand, so we should absolutely flip this over, because I don't want to end up drawing the Queen or Knight of Wands or King of Wands anywhere else on this board and not be able to use the Page. You almost didn't see it at first, but the key is built into the movements of the 2 armies of knights as they prance around the battlefield. You quickly note down the corresponding cards and their locations. Another edge upgrade. Well, arguably I should put it in Never Misses, because it requires the most amount of upgrades, but we have nothing that this benefits. If we upgrade this, it still doesn't help us in any way. So, we're not. So, let's grab either the last point in Adaptive Intellect, or... you know, we'll grab Mr. Chain Blue Lightning. Since if we have a pistol, we can benefit from this, and we'll draw in another card at the start of any combat challenge. Claimed. And we're going to go back to the main menu. That's, what is that? Is that 4? 1, 2, 3. That's 4 edge upgrades we've received already. What the heck? And only 2 story tokens drawn? That's amazing. You decide to give the Rakshasa the papers that you took from the desk. You hand the papers over and the Rakshasa beams with delight. You stand there nervously as it looks them over, wondering if this will go sour quickly. Fair enough. You have honored your part of the bargain. I won't eat you. Not yet, anyway. And with that, he disappears in a puff of smoke. What a theatrical bastard is your first thought. The Lovers. You immediately gain 2 to 12 health points after this Arcana card is used to take a trick. I don't know what I feel about how he's kind of groping her, but she seems to like it. Three more experience points is enough for our Bone of Cups. And then I think I want another point in Cups. Or Wands to get those to 5. Cups next. Traps are nasty, and Cups is how we'll avoid them. Once Cups is 5 and Wands is 5, we'll start actually taking other things here. Oh. I don't really... okay. Let's go into this room and check this side of the room. Okay. Let's talk about this particular room really quickly before we don't go in here any further. If you fail to pass this challenge, you fall into the basement. The basement is extraordinarily dangerous. And the way back up to it is over here somewhere. Which means that we're quite some distance away from getting back up if we don't successfully cross that beam. There might be a robot on the other side, which is the sixth part of the quest that requires the plant man and the refrigerator to solve. But I'll worry about that if that's the case, if we don't find that robot someplace else. Otherwise, I don't think whatever's over here is worth it. There might be a secret passage over here that leads to the gardens, but I doubt it. I don't think it's worth searching it. You decide to tell the armor that you have found the bead that the Zabotic witch used to imprison his soul. You say that you will help free it. The haunted armor shudders in anticipation. Salvation is at hand, it tells you. It directs you to place the bead in front of it and crush it with your foot. A cloud of sickening green vapor erupts, followed by a soul-piercing howl. It was a trick. The witch lied. The armor now wants to follow you until it can exact its revenge. We get another ally. +1 swords bonus. If you fail a combat challenge, this card blocks 1 health loss point from being applied to your character after the results phase has finished while this card is in your inventory. So in other words, it reduces the damage we take from failing combat by 1 and gives us +1 more swords. The snake and earth pentacles. That will be used. What is earth? Earth, I think, is an earth pentacles, an earth talisman, and it does affect pentacles. While we're here, let's search the bookshelf. You decide to inspect the bookshelf more closely. You scan over the titles and occasionally pull out the volume to get a better look. There's a chance we can get a spell from this as a reward. We're not going to mess around either. We're going to play all our high cards. Well, we can play the 4 here. Maybe we can play the queen. We can! To take the knight. That was perfect. Looks promising. You think you might have found something. It's a chance for a spell. Nothing. Oh, that sucked. Okay. And this is required for another quest. We'll have to come back for this. And what's over here? The alligator. We'll come back to beat him up later. We don't need to do that right now. We only have a few minutes left. Let's go and turn... Oh, we'll turn in the glutton. And then we'll stop there, everyone. We don't have any more experience, right? So we do not. Okay. It's very rare that I'm able to complete so many quests so early also. This is one of the best, so far, at the risk of jinxing it, runs of this game I've had so far. Early on, at least. You decide to hand over the disgusting demon baby carcass. Against your better judgment, you give the demon the remains. They are quickly swallowed down and followed by a huge burp. The demon sits back with a content smile on its face. You have held your end of the bargain. I'll uphold mine. We gain a spell. Lumerian Fire. It's Eldritch, though, so it won't benefit from our Hyperborean picks. Maybe we can get lucky enough to get something else? The Star. Another Arcana card. Gain a random spell card after this card is used to take a trick. We may play this sooner rather than later. What does Lumerian Fire do? Roll 1 bone and select X non-face revealed trick cards and remove them from the board, where X is the number of pentacles rolled. Then replace them with random cards from the deck. I wonder how that works if I've already played cards on them. Alright, well, we'll stop here, everyone. Thank you guys again for watching. So, it's looking pretty good for us. We've gotten quite a bit of experience points. We've gone up to 4 Arcana cards now, when we started just with Justice. Our Swords is at 7 points already. And it looks like we'll be increasing our Cups, hopefully, next episode. And we've gotten all the bones we need to use any of our stats that require them. Stats, skills, or spells. This is looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Alright, guys.